We just had a Dreamhack event, a huge event, almost 1,000 players played for a One Piece card game tournament. We have the top 8 results, so I want to go ahead and jump in and show you guys what topped in the event. You guys are not going to be surprised. It's a lot of the same decks that we've seen before, a lot of the same colors, but it's still good to see and check out the decks and look at the meta and see what differences we should make in our own decks and get inspired, okay? So let's jump right in, boys. Without further ado, we have right here number 8, Sakazuki. So this Sakazuki blue and black is pretty similar to other decks we've seen before. I do want to note exactly the ratios he's went for so we can maybe get a little bit inspired. But wow, he has a really solid deck. Looks really comfortable to play, really strong ratios. So... and I mean, it's made a lot of work. I mean, it's got top 8 in a almost 1,000 player event. So this deck will work for sure. So looks like it's only 2 Borsalinos in here. Of course, Sabo is a must in this deck, I believe. At least a 2-off. Gaining that cycle through mid-game is amazing, allowing you to really secure your options of removal and as well look for any late-game characters like Kaido or Borsalino that you might be trying to set up for. Also, 4 Houndblaze, 4 Great Eruption. Makes sense, guys. Great Eruption to Houndblaze is amazing when you have brand new on board. Only 2 𝐒𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐂𝐓, so that's special. I don't think he runs him early. He plays him maybe middle game. So what happens is usually Gedatsu gets rid of 𝐒𝐎𝐍𝐶 if you play him early. He wants to play 𝐒𝐒𝐍𝐶 as early as possible, but Gedatsu takes him out, especially turn 2. So usually what happens, Sakas go for Borsalino so he can keep him safe. Then they play 𝐒𝐒𝐍𝐶 a couple of turns later. That way they have the removal they need after maybe the activator Becca or something with a Hina or something like that. But yeah, guys, you do want that 𝐒𝐒𝐍𝐶 on board. It gives you so much more access to your removal for such a little cost. I mean, -4 is just gonna unlock so much you have. You can unlock your Houndblaze, unlock your Raw Blueshies, unlock a lot of your removal, especially when you add it with Tashigi and Hinas. You just remove such big numbers. So you always want to target that 𝐒𝐒𝐍𝐶. So it's interesting. He only has 2. But maybe he just doesn't play them early, keeps them safe, and then he just, when they're out, they actually do a lot of work. But yeah, guys, also there is 2 Ice Age. A lot of people only run 1 or none, but I really believe in the power of this Ice Age. Being able to basically remove a Yamato for 8 cost with Borsalino, a 9-drop Yamato for 6 cost, or sorry, 8 cost. That's pretty valuable. So yeah, guys, this is the deck. Also, he ran a couple of 3,000 worlds. This is a meta that has a lot of Sakazukis. So if you're in the mirror match, 3,000 worlds makes sense why you would run a couple of them. It really does help in the mirror match. And yeah, I bet you this is it. This is for the mirror match, 100% the 3,000 worlds. But yeah, guys, let's jump into number 7 here. We got Katakuri Yellow. We know Katakuri is really strong, can get a lot of information. Let's see his ratios in his late game. Only 1 Enel, just maybe in the Sakazuki matchup. He needs the Enel out, so maybe he'll mulligan for it. Linlin only at 2, interesting. So running Katakuri at 2 as well. Katakuri is extremely expensive. Maybe that's the only reason he's running at 2. Only 1 Yamato, doesn't need any more, interesting. But 4 of the Big Mom, and I'll tell you what, Big Mom actually wins in the yellow matchups, in the mirror matches in yellow. Big Mom into Big Mom into Big Mom really does counter a lot of decks. I think it even destroys Sakazuki. Big Mom into Big Mom into Big Mom. Like playing 2 or 3 Big Moms in a row literally wins you a game. You cannot deal with it. Big bodies on board. You're being very healthy and protected by gaining a life. The opponent is losing his life. And as long as you are a little bit ahead, or you have a couple of blockers on the board, or you have some kind of field presence or some board or some hand, it's gonna feel really good to play the Big Mom. She never gets removed, and if you play her a couple in a row, that's pretty much game over. I really cannot deal with Big Mom when I'm NL. So a Big Mom into a Big Mom into a Big Mom really wins games. So no wonder it's at 4. It's very special. But yeah, for the rest of the deck, he's going to run Gedatsu. He's going to run the Sanjis. A couple of Saturis. Just they're so strong being played from the trigger zone. 1 Cracker probably just perfecting its triggers ratios. Only 3 of the Amande. Interesting. Just the 2k counter. He is running the pudding, so he's looking for the Big Moms. And so he ran some 2k counters that are Big Moms as well. And of course, Shirahoshi is really big here with the Katakuri. Does a lot of work for you. And so yeah, this is the deck, guys. Absolutely amazing ratios. Really impressive to see only a couple of Shirahoshis and Saturis and still doing a lot of work. But yeah, guys, Interested in your opinions, leave them down below. What do you think about this Katakuri? Get inspired, and let's move on to number 6 here, guys. Enel. This is going to be a pretty straightforward Sky Island deck. 4 of the Yamatos, 3 of the Katakuris. No Shirahushis? No Shirahushis. He just said, I don't need Shirahushis. Whatever that comes out of my life, like a Shuro or a Sanji, I'm just going to shove them right back in with the Katakuri. And then we need the Enels, of course. You need the Enel for the Sakazuki matchup, or you automatically lose. You cannot deal with Sakazuki in any way in this deck. This deck does not deal with Sakazuki in any way, because let's say you play an Ohm and you get the Holy, both of them get removed by Raul. So you can never gain an advantage over Sakazuki. Your only way to do that is with Enel, because he stays on the board, he gets a rush, he gets an attack immediately, stays on the board, and just does not leave. And usually Sakazuki only has 1 removal per game, unless he can attack into this, which is very hard. He only has 1 removal per turn. So keeping it's going to be really easy to keep this alive. Makes sense. There's 3 of it. And only 4 Yamatos. Nothing else needed for the late game. No big moms needed. Nothing else. We're just going to keep these ratios healthy and safe like there. Thunderbolt at 3. And Elthor. So there's a little bit of defense. And also some Thunderbolt to kind of steal games. Removing Rebecca's. Removing Sabos. Removing 5-cost blockers. Absolutely makes sense. But yeah, besides that, it's 4 of all of the Skylines beside Konis, which is a 2k counter. That's why. And 4 of the Sanji, 4 of the Big A. Is he missing anything? Sky Island? Not really. I guess Saturis. No, Saturis are right here. Yeah, so he's running all the Sky Islands. He's just running them at 4, and then a couple of these triggers like Sanji and Big A. Really nice, guys. Strong deck. Let's move on, guys. Another Katakuri, another yellow deck here. Number 5. Let's look at the ratios. Big Mom, of course, at 4. Thunderbolt at 4. Viyamaru steals games at 4. Wow, this guy's stealing games. I mean, honestly, Big Mom into Thunderbolt Viyamaru wins you game. Like, that's game over. Charlotte Lin Lin at 3. Staying healthy early game. I mean, it feels so good playing Lin Lin into Katakuri, into Big Mom. This curve is insane. It just keeps you healthy and have big bodies on board. It's absolutely amazing. And then just a big lineup of 4s here. I mean, Gadatsu makes sense. Oh, oops. Gadatsu makes sense. I mean, he just is your only removal here. Saturi, Sanji is really strong. Trigger. No crackers. We don't see any crackers. We're just going to go for the Press Bros. Amandes for the counter value, because we can search them with this Big Mom pudding. Also, the Strusen for the 2k counter, and also Bege just because he's one of the most broken cards in the game. Yeah, interesting. Wow. Just went for the full-on game stealer method, where he's just no defense. We're just going to try to push out characters and then eat out the blockers to end games with them. Absolutely nice to see, guys. Moving on. Makes sense, guys. Katakuri can hit a lot of triggers. If he gets a bunch of strong triggers early, I mean, he can steal games very, very easily. Let's move on, guys. Number 4 here, we got Sakazuki, another Sakazuki deck. He is running Sanji's Pilaf here, which I think slows him down a little bit. But it's because he's not running any Kaidos. He just opted away from the Kaidos, looks like. Hound Blaze at 4, Great Eruption at 4. Besides that, I think the ratio is going to be very similar to all the other Sakazukis. The deck's pretty much discovered. You can add a blocker or 2 from here or there. Maybe add a Kuzan or 2. Or remove a Kuzan. But basically the ratios are pretty much the same. You're going to run the Borsalinos, which is insane that he ran 4. But it's okay. Early game, you can just shove them into your trash, and then you can put them back into your deck with your Rob Lucy. So it's really not... It doesn't hurt you to run 4. Because if you don't need them, you just toss them back into the trash and then put them back into your deck for later. Only 1 Sabo. Interesting. Maybe he just doesn't have any more. Maybe... So maybe... that's usually what I think of when I only see one-offs. But I mean, he also ran only 1 Mancherry. Mancherry is very low priority though. Like, you don't really care about her. And this is probably, he just needed a little bit more defense for certain matchups. Maybe the mirror match. Interesting. No 3000 Worlds, no Red Rocks. Interesting. I'm not sure how this does in the mirror match, but of course it did really well. It's number 4. So let's go number 3. Enel here. Another Sky Island Enel. This one is a little bit more defensive as well. Elthor with some Thunderbolts and a little bit of Viyamaru. And then Yamato, Katakuri, Charlotte Linden, and Enel at 2. Interesting. So you don't really need to run 4. Even if Sakazuki is heavy in the matchup, in the meta, You really don't need to run 4. You could get away with 3 or 2. For me, for some reason, all my deck profiles I run like 6 non-KOers. I even added ace. But that's a little bit overkill. Because Sakazuki is big in the meta right now, but he's not the only deck in the meta. Anyways, Gedatsu, Satori, the Ohms, and only 2 Shirahushi, and then 2 Kones. Really good, really good. So really, you don't need all 4 Shirahushis. You just need 2. Once one is out, basically, Katakuri just keeps cycling through, and it's going to give you a lot of value. But yeah, we see a lot of these Enels switch between 2 and 3 categories, so maybe there's a perfect ratio somewhere, or maybe it just depends on the style, but yeah, of the pilot. Let's move on, guys. Number 2, we got another Saka deck. This one's actually running the one-legged toy soldier. A little bit extra minus cost, just in case, but also a nice 2k. This is actually a really strong card. I'm actually surprised nobody runs it. Well, it's a Dressrosa, that's why it's not searchable. It's hard to get out, and it's more safer to just run the Tsuru, especially when you have a Navy searcher like brand new. Makes sense. Only one Bartholomew. Only one Bartholomew, and only 3 Tashigi is really interesting. 3 Hinas. These ratios are really, really different. Kaidos, there is Kaidos, there's Sabos. Ooh, Borsalinos a lot less. Wow, only 3. Instead went and opted for more Kuzan. I mean, I don't know, man. He's top 2, so maybe it actually helped a lot, this ratio difference. Also, only 3 Hinas. Didn't need a big priority for her. Also, she doesn't have a counter, so it makes sense. You don't want to run all 4. So it's interesting why he ran all 4 for the Kuzan. Probably that's why Kuzan also they run only 2 of no counter. But still, really nice deck, guys. Did really good. Congratulations on top 2. And let's go ahead and look at number 1 here. Another Sakazuki deck. I'm sorry, guys. Sakazuki is pretty strong right now in the meta. But let's talk about the deck. Bartholomew looks like he's almost becoming a must in this deck. You need some more counter value as well as blocking potential. Bartholomew is really strong for that. 2k counter and a blocker. Wow, that's really, really value. And then you have Houndblaze, Great Eruption. You got the Kaidos and the Borsalinos. Only 2 of the Kuzans. 4 of the Hinas. Tashigis are over to the full. Also 1 Hina just for more search and more draw early game. And the Mancheries. Interesting. Everyone is running Mancheries. I didn't see a single Sakazuki deck that's not running Mancheries. So you do want to run a couple of Mancheries. But it's very rare they play them. There's only certain matchups that these are useful in, or certain times where you pull them at a certain time and you really want to play this out. But usually they block with them or counter with them. Sorry, I mean they counter with them, but that's what they do. But yeah, guys, that's it. That's our 8 decks, top 8 from the Dreamhack 1000, almost 1000 player event for One Piece card game. Really interesting decks. Looks like the meta is a little bit discovered, although we are seeing some Katakuri and Enel differences, and of course the ratios in the Sakazuki decks are different. But looks like a lot of these decks are pretty similar. But I'm interested in your opinions, guys. Leave them down below. Let me know if you got inspired or not, and let's see what we got next for the next tournament.